This week on the Home Studio Hangout podcast, we have returning guest Seth Goodwin. Really excited to have him back on for a second episode. This week, we talk about the current state of what content looks like for music producers and artists, what we think the content landscape is going to be moving into 2025, where Seth is focusing his efforts on content, and what our consumption habits are and how that informs what we put out into the world to try and grow our music businesses. If you're a music producer trying to grow your business through social media content, this is going to be an incredible episode for you. So listen to the whole thing. We got a ton of great bits here for you. And again, thank you for Seth for coming on the podcast this week. Let's dive right in. I see live streams come up all the time on YouTube. And maybe it's because it's a part of my watching habits, and so it feeds them to me.
Yeah, I do think that if you're going to do like live stream stuff, I think the best way to do it would be kind of like what Venus Theory does, where he'll have like a monthly event for his community.
Yes,
like
Tatro does the same thing.
And I feel like that's the way that you use it, is you use it as a way to cultivate community that you've already built via like YouTube content or a Discord server. I don't see it working really well. Like for people in our world where we have like a business that we're trying to do, I don't see it being beneficial as a, like, I'm going to get on and live stream as if I were a Ludwig.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I don't think it's going to work the same. They don't even live stream that way anymore. Only the big guys live stream that way. You know, like it
that was the thing that made me drop my. That was the thing that made me drop my Twitch push, because I tried doing a push on Twitch for like a month or so. The reason I stopped was because I was like, okay, like find like my favorite streamers that I want to emulate, and by the time I got to doing it, none of those guys were streaming anymore.
Nope.
I was like, I'm like, okay, Decap's not streaming anymore. Eldre's not streaming anymore. I don't think John Makes Beats is streaming. He might be streaming every once in a while, but I don't think he's doing it consistently.
And then Josh from Issues, he was doing drum streams like all the time.
Yeah, and now
he doesn't do that anymore.
He doesn't need to, because he's getting hired to be like the drummer for the biggest country singers in the world.
Kane Brown, And Bill Murray.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I feel like a lot of people don't address when they're looking at the content stuff, is it is a means to an end. Like, example, one of the drummers that I've followed for a long time, he was a content creator on YouTube. His name's Harry Meary. Okay. And he's super funny guy. Had great videos, but he stopped uploading like 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm like, what happened to that dude? But he was a Nashville drummer, and he made a lot of content around his drumming abilities and like his personality. He was like a really fun guy.
I know which guy you're talking about. And like
now,
skinny, tall, white dude.
Yeah, and you know where he is now? Now he's the drummer for Hardy.
Oh, that's sick! I didn't realize that.
There's like the newest videos of him are like him playing. He has like a weird like clutch hi-hat thing, like a remote hi-hat cable thing. So his hi-hat, even though he's a righty, he like has his hi-hat on the right side of his drum kit so he can like play open-handed with his hi-hat. And now that was like a YouTube video he did, because he's like, haha, this is funny. And now he's using that setup on like a stadium tour with Hardy.
That's crazy.
And he says dude all the time, and now he's that's like a thing with his subscribers. He's like, what's up, dudes? And he's at a point now where he is sponsored by Meinl, and they have like dual crashes as like a model of crash that he has. He requested that they say dude crash on them.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so it's like he has used his content as a way to show his ability and his personality in a way that was so appealing that now he doesn't need to do it anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that people don't think about the fact that's like, and Ludwig talks about this a lot, which is like, we can't be making meme review videos forever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, this is not, it's the ends. It's got to be an ends to a means in some, or means to an end in some capacity even for him, it was a launch to build off-brand,
Yeah.
like to build I would argue one of the coolest like modern live event, marketing companies, and in like recent memory, like doing video game like events and all the Smash tournaments and all that kind of stuff that he does, or like the Stream Award. I think he did. Didn't they do the Streamies?
I think
Cutie did it.
Yeah, I think they did.
But
she
but
organized the
they
event, but I think Off-Brand did like
put it on. Yeah, I think it put it on, like, and handled all of like the actual live streaming part of it.
But you just have to view it with like a different perspective, and that's even like I listen to the Linus Tech Tips podcast all the time. Just because he's like one of those OG. He's one of the OG creators that I like listen to and keep up with all the time, and they talk about tech, so it's like fun. It's like almost what I do, but not quite. So it's a fun, casual listening. And
I listen to the Waveform podcast for literally the exact same reason.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, these are people who are like nerdy and obsessive in a way that I am, but I don't have to like be taking notes because it's my industry that they're talking about. Yeah. But they were talking about how I think Linus went to Creator Summit at YouTube, and he was talking about how he met this dude who was just huge on YouTube Shorts or something like that. And he was talking, because Linus, for anybody who doesn't know, he runs like a big media company that is like a YouTube channel. It like has like 20 plus people on staff as like a tech review YouTube channel. And he was talking with this dude at this Creator Summit, and he said that this dude's whole channel was, he is a ice cream donut. I don't even know what you call it, but basically he has this ice cream donut food thing that he licenses out to other catering companies. And his stuff does really well on like YouTube Shorts. So he's not like a restaurant. He's not a restaurant. He licensing is the wrong word, but he distributes it so that other catering companies can use it. And YouTube Shorts have done really well for him. And and Linus was just like, that is an example of like, I didn't even know that was a business that existed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. I need to listen to the Land Show more, or WAN Show more, because I need to,
It's kind of like a Joe Rogan thing where it's really long, so you might go to like the Clips channel and just watch the like the highlights that look interesting to you. But it's interesting to, and I think that needs to be with the reconciliation that most content creators have with the internet, is that on some level, the internet is a job in the sense that you have to take it seriously and you have to put a lot of effort into it. It does not make money the same way that a job does. Yeah. And you need to, like, on some level, there needs to be like an adult moment where either you use your content as a way to bring in money via like a course or something like that, or you leverage it into, like you leverage your credibility with it into something else, or you have some other business that is so good and like is functioning well to the point where you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's similar to me, where it's like I leverage and I'm not even that deep into the content game, in my opinion, but like I know more than most people, probably in the grand scheme of things. I also understand kind of branding and marketing almost kind of innately, and so knowing that stuff, but also knowing how the internet functions and how content functions gives me a big leverage to like build a business off of that aspect. And like helping businesses grow their YouTube channel has been really cool on the side for me. I don't know. It's been fun. And like as I've grown my own business as well, I've been able to do that in about a year's time. So when I started taking it seriously, so that's been kind of cool. We kind of just rolled right into the podcast.
Let's go.
The I don't normally do that, but I was like, I'm just gonna start it. So we'll just keep going. Dude, it's so good to have you on though. We haven't
Thanks,
we
man.
talked we've talked like 2 or 3 times since we actually like
we've
on
had
the phone.
multiple podcast episodes that were just for us. They were exclusives.
Yeah, exactly. They were just us talking on the phone for hours, being like, "Here's what I'm trying to do. What do you think about that?" And you're like, yeah, back and forth on that stuff. But you took a break, which I think was really cool. I talked with Andrew Chapman. I don't know if you remember him. I talked with him recently, and he's doing some stuff on TikTok, and he's got some stuff going on, but he's teaching a lot of stuff actually in a traditional school environment, but he's also like a guy actively working in the industry as well on top of that, which is pretty cool. So he's one of the few niche cases of like the education industry actually doing a good thing, which is dope. He and I were talking about this the other day, which is like, I've noticed this year in the content space separately, but also in the music space, and you know, the overlapping of both of those things, which is pretty large. A lot of people slowing down. Like, it's not just you. I've noticed a ton of people slow, like a lot of our peers. And maybe it's like everybody's starting to hit their stride and actually break into the industry a lot more. And maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like Mick Lucas is a really good example. Doesn't do anything content-wise much anymore.
No. And I am working with him on some stuff that he's doing right now. And he's at a level where I'm like, it would be a waste of time for you to be making TikToks.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for him to be doing what he was doing previously. It was a means, like we said, it's a means to an end of like, he's doing large stuff. He mentioned some stuff he was going to Japan for to me. And I was like, yeah, dude, that's crazy. That's like career making stuff.
Yeah. When you have, and you know, I'm working on a few tracks with him right now where it's like, when he's like, hey, this is like major label stuff. And that is the stuff where you're just like, if you're on TikTok, like there's a part of your brain you almost need to turn off, because in order to be good at content creation, you almost have to like persevere through like everything to the point where like I will make content, not even just TikToks, but like YouTube videos or things like that at any cost. Like I will do that at any cost and just keep moving forward. You need to turn that part of your brain off eventually at some point and say, I am successful, and it would not be beneficial for my career to slow down my career that's already revving up so that I can then do this thing that doesn't directly contribute to my career, but maybe would give me opportunities. But if you have the opportunity, you might as well just take the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Not everybody can be Andrew Wong and do all of the above.
Andrew Huang isn't even doing all the stuff that he used to do.
No, he's another person that slowed down actually significantly.
It's so
changed.
I'm
it's
happy.
Also changed. It's also changed a lot.
Yeah. I'm happy that everybody is kind of, because you know, my theory is that when COVID hit and TikTok got big around the same time, everybody got forced to get good at content, and specifically the TikTok kind of content. Mm-hmm. And even if you're like
Beastie, quick cuts,
everybody started looking at view retention and engagement, and everybody had to learn to get really good at it because everybody else was also getting good at it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people did really well at that. I've done some stuff in that sphere and it did well for me. It brought a lot of opportunities. Now everybody is like, okay, enough. Like, this is not actually like people are getting, we kind of talked to it. We talked about it with Ludwig, but it's like, oh, what are we going to be making like meme reviews in our like 60s? Like, no, it's like on some level, the content is a promotional tool that exists for right now. But I think everybody is now getting to this point of like, I am no longer willing to push through and make content for the sake of making content. It now needs to make sense. And you need to have a larger business grown-up decision behind why am I making this kind of content. Like, big picture, what are the goals for my business? Who is my target audience? Where are they? And then you need to pull like a Graham Cochran and be like, is this effective at pulling in the people that I want in a way that then translates into more dollars? Because if the answer is no, you're wasting your time.
Yeah. That's a lot of the conversation that me and you have been having in those, which is like, for me, it was, am I doing the most optimal thing for my business? And from the music production side of things, am I doing the most optimal thing for my music production business by making certain types of content or whatever? Or do I need to change what I'm thinking about or all that kind of stuff? And you're kind of going through the same, you have been also going through kind of the same thing, which is like, is this what I need to be doing if I'm making some sort of course or something like that? Like, am I getting the right kind of person to my YouTube channel that would want that thing? Yeah.
And that's honestly the big shift that I've had recently is, so right now in terms of like course stuff, I've just put like a pause on that. Because I'm just meeting with people one-on-one right now because I think it would be beneficial for me to, before I even look at doing a course, just like, all right, let me do some coaching stuff. Let me see what people actually need. And that's been really beneficial.
Nice.
But then also, from a content standpoint now, I'm like, I really just want to put stuff out that would attract somebody to my production business and not necessarily be like, check out my course type stuff. So on Instagram right now, I'm trying something slightly different where I'm just like genre flipping stuff.
I noticed that. I like them. I think those are really good. They seem to be doing really well.
Those are really fun for me. I'm not going to lie. Those are the most fun that I've had in a long time. And that is a content where that would speak to somebody who is wanting to hire me for like a potential production project of like, oh, he can produce this genre or he can get stuff in this realm. And I'm almost wanting to bring YouTube stuff into that same realm of, instead of doing the track recreations, which are very, I feel just from like the kind of content that it is very like, it's centered towards the producer who wants to learn. It's centered towards like somebody who wants to like learn production knowledge. I'm almost wanting to bring it more into like a Nick Broomhall place where it's like, let me turn on the camera, make something live on camera, and you get to see my creative process.
Yeah.
Because
Shout
now
out
that's
Nick.
more, dude, his
Shout
stuff
out
is
Nick,
so fun.
Dude. His stuff is so fun to watch too. Golly.
So good.
I need to get him on the podcast. Me and him have talked a little bit, and I need to get him on the podcast.
You should get him on the podcast.
He seems like such a fun guy. But yeah, he does do that thing where it's like, oh, I feel like I'm just hanging out with this guy in the studio and watching him be just nerdy and wild.
Yeah. But part of that is he just has like, here's my content on YouTube. The only place that leads to is like his production business or his like mixing, like sort of post-production business that he has. I think it's like Architect Tiger.
I think he just does like post-mix and master stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, on some level, if you wanted to hire somebody like that, or if you were in the need for somebody who could like get your metal track like to that final stage, his content perfectly shows his skills and his creativity to like bring your stuff to that level if you were to hire him. So he is basically preemptively answering, yes, I am good at what I do and I can do this thing for you.
Yeah. Well, and he also does the thing where he's kind of like what you're talking about of like, oh, I want to make this, but I want to make it sound like this style of track. Yeah. And he'll even say, he'll be like, it needs like a periphery kind of thing. And then he'll just nail that sound like exactly. Or like, I want this to sound like a Pliny lead. And he will get exactly that sound that he's describing in the next frame. Like exactly that sound. And it's like, oh, you are saying a thing to your target demographic that they would probably ask you to do, and then showing that you know how to do that thing and answering that loop instantly.
Yeah. Like to the point where if I had somebody who was like, hey, I need this thing for like a periphery style project, I would probably recommend them to him more than I would take on the project.
Oh,
because
100%.
I know that he would do an amazing job. But like that's the thing is, and his YouTube channel's not even super huge. It's like 70,000 subscribers at this point, I think. But
Yeah.
man, he is like cemented, like even just like, I feel like culturally as that guy now. And
Oh, dude, he's even less than that. Only not even 40.
oh shoot, dang.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I watch his content. I'm like, this is a 100,000 subscriber channel.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's a 39.3K subscriber.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We should chat sometime.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's crazy that he's doing that. Yeah, you and him should probably talk about what you're talking about trying to do with your channel, because he's very much in a similar space to you. Actually, I don't remember what your channel's at right now, but 20.
I just hit 12K.
12. Okay, 12. I knew there was a 2 in there somewhere. I'm just dyslexic. Can't even say the word. But yeah, like he was doing that at 12K for sure. Then taking that approach.
And I
That's
think
crazy.
that is the best, honestly, for him and his studio. That is like the best form of content, is just like show your expertise of like building tracks for
because
people.
You still get the aspect of like what you were talking about of like getting the plugin company to hit you up, and you like he did a Mixwave video like I think that was the one he posted today actually. He got a Mixwave drum kit, and so like he just used the Mixwave drum kit with his thing. Like he quad cortex stuff, he makes presets for quad cortex, and it's like for neural, and it's like that is like exact company identity wrapped into his content, that he doesn't have to have 300,000 subscribers. He can have arguably like, I mean, not a small amount, but a good amount, but in the grand scheme of things, pretty small in the music space. And like be that like on it is crazy.
Yeah.
And also turn it into clients.
And then that is like, and then if he wants to then turn any of that into short form after the fact, that is now an added bonus. If anything, that is like on his Instagram, letting people know that he has a new video out. But it's not like the cornerstone of his content. That is just like a way to nurture the people who already know him from his videos.
I am terrified of things like the idea. I am terrified of the idea of building an entire brand based off of short form content. That scares me.
There are
so
people
much.
who do it. There are people who do it, and I'm just like, you have so much faith in technology that I do not have.
Even John McLucas, who I would argue of the people that we are friends with was like the best at it, was also a long form guy. Like he did both.
Yeah. He did YouTube for a long time. The first video I ever saw from him was a video he did where he dissected the success of Jared Dines.
Yeah, which I thought was super interesting. Yeah.
And it's like, the dude, if anybody wanted to see, like, go look at like John's like YouTube channel. Like by the time I had met him, he had been doing it for years at that point. And so he had long form content values, I almost want to say, when he came into short form. And so he was way more prepared than most people when TikTok came in. And on some level, like even when, like, I think I shared it last time I was on here, but man, I did like a Bring Me the Horizon video like years ago. I still get people who reach out to me wanting to hire me for a project because of that video. And it wasn't even a good video. like I don't think it was a bad video, but what I mean is, like, at the time when I posted it, I think it literally got like sub 400 views. Like, it wasn't that great of a a showcase for stuff. And I still get people who like want to book projects based off of that. Because they're like, oh, you're an indie pop guy. You like all this indie pop stuff. Oh, he does metal and it doesn't suck? Let's go. And so that's a weird, because that's even like a weird crossover niche of like people who like indie pop and metal. That's like a huge crossover of people that I didn't know existed. Almost like country and metal. Yeah. There's like so many people who are like,
it's a massive
I love the
crossover.
1975 and Mushuga.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's true. The people that are building their entire catalog off of, and the other thing is off of short form content, but I guess the other thing is like, to what end? You know?
Yeah.
That's like what goes back to what we were talking to before. Is like, how are you translating that into? What are you translating that into? Is it just for the sake of doing it? And it's like, that's even scarier for me. It's like you are spending so much time and effort on doing something for what? Just because you want to be famous and on people's phones?
It almost has the feel of like the Amazon dropshipper people from like 10 years ago. They're just like, oh, you want to get rich? Import really cheap stuff from China, or like get like a third party distributor from China to then drop ship stuff on your behalf on Amazon.
Yeah.
And like, that's how you'll make money. And it's like, yeah, you can get that running really quickly. And you can also see it now because like TikTok has like a shop feature, and you're just seeing nonstop.
It's essentially the same thing.
It's basically just like Temu stuff that's like probably garbage. I'm going to be honest. I've yet to see a good product come my way through that, but it is that world of like, man, I don't see how it's even possible to build a business that is sustainable long term with this kind of marketing or with this kind of product or setup. It's like, I don't remember if I said it last time, but it was like, when people are doing like projects, there's like the three things people talk about. It's like, you can get it fast, you can have it good, or you can have it cheap. And you get to pick two of those. Yeah. Like from a project. If somebody wants like a good song and they want it really fast, it's not going to be cheap. If you want it to be really cheap and really good, it's not going to be fast, and etc. Yeah. I feel like with a business, it's like either you build it quickly / easily, you can have it be profitable, or you can like have it be stable over a long period of time. You get to pick two of those. If you build a business that is really quick to build and really profitable, there's insane volatility with that. It's like a business that's probably not going to last in like 3 years.
Yeah. And all of them are expensive to build.
Yes.
For the most part. Like, none of those options are cheap.
Relative.
Relatively. Most of them are relatively expensive. It's also talking about, people slowing down and people like pulling off of content a lot. I don't know if you've noticed this because you're an avid YouTube watcher like myself. Dude, content's getting so long. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Something happened in the algorithm where people are like, you know what?
45-minute long video.
There's this one character in SpongeBob. Let me do a 2-hour long documentary on this character.
There's a game historian. His stuff has started to come up on my recommended, and I've been watching the heck out of that. And it's like the history of Super Mario World, and it's like how it got made and what it did in the market, and how it like all this. It's like literally a 2.5 hour mini documentary. I say mini, full actual documentary, with voiceover and everything and interviews. It's crazy, and it's like
that's the funny thing is,
it's just making stuff. This dude's just making stuff.
Yeah, it's like I remember early on when I ever heard somebody say like, "Oh, I'm a YouTube documentary filmmaker," and they're on YouTube. I'm just like, I don't know about that. Come on, you're not really on that. But now you have like guys like Brendan Buckingham that are making like hour-long documentary films that just happen to be hosted on YouTube. Like he
Or
did
on the
one
click,
recently.
or on the clickbaity side of that, you have like a CoffeeZilla doing like deep dive editorial like work.
Yeah, and that's the stuff where I'm just like, I don't even know how you plan out a content schedule.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
that kind of
how.
You just like wait for like, is there a scam happening? Nope. Okay, I'll check back in next week.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, what's her name? The girl that does the challenge videos. She was on Colin and Samir a lot. She does like I cannot remember her name. She's got a series that she does. I'm going to look this up real quick because I cannot for the life of me remember her name. She does those like sports challenge or like the challenge videos where she like has to run a marathon and then like has to do Army Navy like Navy SEAL training. And I forget.
Did she work at BuzzFeed?
I feel like yes.
Okay. I
Feel
think
like
I know
she
who you're
did.
talking about.
And she even talked about Michelle Correa. There you go. Michelle
Okay,
Correa.
yeah. She was
Challenge
one of those
accepted.
BuzzFeed peeps.
Yeah, challenge accepted. All right, so that was her thing. She even talks about the fact is like it's impossible for her to have consistency.
Yeah.
The closest thing she can have is like I'm doing 3 things at one time. Sometimes, most of the time, it's like she posts once a month because that's how long it takes to film the trajectory of her thing, and then do it and like make the video and put the video together. Mark Rober's another really good example. Like for a while, he was not consistent at all. He would post like a video a year.
Yeah. And there were some weird outliers of people where that like works for them. Like I feel like for a long time, like JonTron, like he was like a gaming YouTuber, and like his fan base, he was just known as the guy who would take a year to make a video.
Yeah.
And they weren't like big effort videos. It's just he would only post a video like every year or so, but then they would still get millions of views. The reason the reason Flex Tape is like a meme is because of his video on it.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. I didn't know that's where that came from.
He did a sequel video to the Flex Tape where they actually got Phil from Flex Tape to come on.
That's
the
amazing.
episode.
That's amazing.
There's even a thing where it's like, oh, Flex Glue. It's like that was a joke John made in his video. It's like, did you guys make this a product because John made a joke about it?
That's so funny.
But like, yeah, no, because that's the other thing is like consistency is super important, but there's an element of like, how are you getting that consistency? Because really what's more important is like watch time and retention. Like when YouTube puts your video in front of people, how many people watch it? And like, how long do they watch it for? So if you're somebody who's like a documentary filmmaker, you're now getting into like really long form content where if you're clicking on the video, you are probably somebody who is into watching long form content and you are okay watching all the way to the end. So them making one video, which has just as many ad stops as like, 5 videos, then they can get you to watch all the way through. It's like, okay, can they get you to watch all the way through every 10-minute video? No, you click off after like 4 minutes or 5 minutes. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a 2-hour long video, and that's gonna weed out the people who don't watch long videos.
Bro.
And we're just gonna get all of the people who watch really long dumb videos all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Because then we'll get the same amount of watch time or same amount of ad placements per video, but then also we'll get better watch retention on YouTube.
Dude, I'm going to send you my buddy Chase Bridges' channel. He does Can I Solve It videos. So he watches a show or a movie and tries to solve it before the end, before the reveal, basically. And I just texted it to you, but also if you just want to pull it up on your computer, it's fine too.
Cool.
Chase Bridges, his view count versus his subscriber count is absurd.
Oh, the first thing that popped up is 9 hours of mystery solving to fall asleep
Yep.
to.
Yeah, so
Which I'm assuming that's a collage.
He put all of his videos in one big video, which is genius. That's a genius idea.
And it's 2 days old and it has 9,000 views.
Yes.
For a channel with 50,000 subscribers.
Now look at the other channels. His other videos. Like, go to his actual channel.
Yeah, no, he's doing like he's getting like 70,000 views. Oh gosh, the Pretty Little Liars one is 3 hours long.
Yeah,
it has 300,000 views.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, he is, in my opinion, of the people that I know, the king of like super long form videos, packaged well and done well, and people just love it.
Dang, there's a point where I'm like, man, I need to like watch like movies on a regular basis because it feels wrong to put this much time and effort into watching like YouTube videos, because now they're like plus feature length
plus
stuff
movies, for sure.
But no, yeah, that's awesome. Good for him.
It's just super telling, in my opinion, that like he's really only been doing this for like a year. The first one that he did that like popped off a lot, like really big, was
he had a video called "I Watched Every Universal Monster Movie."
That was the first one that he did that like really popped off. That song that's on his channel, Punchlines, I mixed that song.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. So he's mine and Shama's friend. So he's in a lot of videos with Shama. He's in some shorts. He's an actor. Chase is an actor from here. So he like writes and acts in films, and he's a part of like our like crew.
Yeah.
Here. But
it's funny. I'm looking at his videos and it's like, all right, 10 months ago, can I solve Twin Peaks before the reveal? 350,000 views, and it's like an hour-long video. And then a few months after that, ranking every Scooby-Doo monster. It's a 12-minute video, and there's like 10,000 views.
The longer videos for him crush way better than the small videos.
So by like a large margin. If anybody's into YouTube stats, go to his channel and look up all of his videos, because it's interesting to see how like you can just see anytime he makes a shorter video.
The only one that's an outlier from that is the "Can I solve who shot Mr. Burns?" before the reveal.
Yeah, but even then, that's shorter. That's like still like a 20, 30-minute video.
Yeah, it's still a 30-minute video, but it's not "Can I Solve Pretty Little Liars Part 1," 2.5, almost 3-hour video, and it's got 768K.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There are some channels now where like React YouTubers they're swapping over to just watching movies. Like they're not like in a copyright infringement way, but in like they're gonna just react to a whole movie and like cut down the bits that have like good reactions to it, because that now makes a longer reaction video.
Yeah. Interesting. I know there's some people that are doing that with anime. They'll do that with like anime reactors will react to the entire episode and then cut it up into parts.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see how like it used to be like, I don't know. There was like a weird thing that happened for a while where I feel like if you had like a YouTube video that was like longer than 30 minutes, people were like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you could talk. But now it's like, dude, did you see like the soggy cereal video follow up to like the Dog Pack Mr. Beast drama?
No.
So it's like a rebuttal of like some of the allegations that Mr. Beast got from like Dog Pack. It's like I can only watch like half of it because it's like hours long.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half long.
And it's like at some point I'm like, okay, I know that he probably put a lot of effort into that video, but at some point I'm like, man, there are movies in the Criterion collection that I haven't seen. Like I should probably like see like Lawrence of Arabia before I watch like an hour and a half long Mr. Beast drama rebuttal video.
Oh god. Yeah, you're right. Priorities. That's really funny. No, I don't know, man. It's super interesting, but it also says a lot to like what is content going to look like in 2025?
I don't know, man, cuz this is almost like a reaction to shorts. It's the opposite of shorts. It's longs.
Yeah, in the most like and podcasts have become as big as shorts were in 2021.
Yeah. No, the amount of, and I mean you know it like way more than I would, but like the amount of people who just like, let's start a podcast, or like that is a place where short form content works really well. Is podcast promotion.
Yes. It is actually the best place for podcasts. It is the only way to promote your podcast outside of like YouTube algorithmically. But then you're kind of playing like a high profile guest game or having a high profile host game at a point.
Yeah. The only other way I can see you doing that is kind of like what the WAN show does, whereas first of all, their episodes are like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And they like go into it with like, here's like a bunch of topics we're going to cover this week, and so then they have a YouTube channel where they will like clip topics from that, like 10-minute sections of them talking about it, and that is now a YouTube video on a separate YouTube channel.
Yeah, doing the Barndo show, and I didn't realize the WAN show was on his Linus Tech Tips channel.
Yeah. For a long time, they weren't even on Spotify. It was just like a YouTube exclusive podcast.
Interesting. So it was the opposite.
Yeah, no, they were. I think there was a video with iJustine where she was like talking to him about his podcast. It's like, wait, you have like this many listeners on your podcast? Why don't I see your podcast anywhere? It's like, oh, well, we don't distribute it anywhere. It's just on YouTube.
That's amazing.
They have changed that since.
Yeah.
Now I think they stream they have their own platform now, which is a new thing that's coming out where
that's cool.
Content creators are.
We could talk about that in a second for sure.
But like they have Floatplane, which is kind of like if you're familiar with like Pepperbox TV or like the Corridor Digital guys, it's like their own platform where they have exclusive content for people who've like bought into it. And yeah, now I think they're streaming it to Twitch and YouTube while they are live and filming it. But there might be like some like after dark thing that they do on the podcast where you have to be a subscriber to get access to it.
That's cool. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's interesting. I feel like, I mean, it's cool that content's getting longer. Makes it more intentional.
I'm not sure it is.
I think it's kind of cool. I mean, most of my videos end up being somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes long anyway. Like most of my ideas aren't short.
Yeah.
And most of my well-performing ones are 30 minutes long.
Okay.
So,
when I say like I don't like it being longer, what I'm saying is when live streaming and Twitch streaming was big, there was a part of me that was like, man, I don't know how much I can get. But if there was somebody in my life who was like, oh yeah, here's this other person, what I do in my free time is I sit down and I watch them live on a live stream for 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
Every 3 days a week. And I'm just there's a part of me that is just like, what are you doing?
Well, yeah,
that is 100% judgmental, and I know that there's like a harsh. I think I'm approaching it from like somebody who's like a business owner.
Yeah.
So like people I know who would be doing that would be like, oh, my business isn't working right now, and I'm like, well, you have a free 6 hours you can get if you just stop doing this one thing.
Well, and I don't think it's necessarily where it differs from live streaming is you have to physically be there for those hours.
Yes.
You don't have to physically be there. It is a scalable version of live streaming. It's just long form video. So you can make one 30-minute to an hour and a half long video and then not have to make a video for a month. Or 2 months, theoretically.
Or you have to immediately get started on the next one because it takes 2 months for you to make a video.
Sure.
Because they are still like hyper edited versions of those 10-minute videos.
Yes, they are. So, and that's the tricky part is like, but I think it gives you more space to potentially may give you more space to like, oh, I have an idea. I can have a really long conversation built around this idea, and then I can put it out and people can enjoy it. And it's going to do better numbers because people are going to enjoy it. And they're going to spend an hour and a half with you. Or you could be like me and put out a podcast every week for an hour.
Yeah.
which also is a very viable.
It's very viable and it's very time efficient. And there's an element of like, that's kind of why podcasts are like more appealing to people is because you're just like, okay, let me show. I have a podcast with a friend that we haven't released yet. But it is literally like, okay, we know what we're talking about when we get here. Plan for it a little bit on your own time, but it doesn't need to be super extensive. Show up. Okay, turn on the camera. Talk for an hour, 2 hours. Boom, we're done. Okay, send it off to whoever is editing it, and then we're done. And compared that to like even just like one of my YouTube videos where I'm recreating a track, it like starts out with like that amount of recording time. I just have to do that as prep before I even start recording. And I don't know. I think that long form videos on YouTube and stuff like that getting longer can be a good thing. I am also just noticing people adding a lot of filler now to be like, let me just, or even just like the video topic is just like, why do we need this as a video? But it's like, okay, well, if I can get enough people to watch this really long video, or like there will be like, I don't know if you've noticed this at all. I see a bunch of like drama videos of like
I don't watch those.
The downfall of so and so, and it's like not even like a big drama thing. It's like by the end of the week, no one notices it. But drama content is like if you make a long form drama video on YouTube, you can get a lot of clicks on that initial like week that it happens.
Yeah. Sir Mogul Mill is definitely one of those people. Even though he made a really conscious effort to like get away from it.
Yeah. I would appreciate it if he like stops doing that for the most part. Cuz somebody have you ever watched Devin Nash before?
Yeah.
So he did a pretty good dissection of like people like Moist Critical and Asmongold and stuff like that. And he's like, they're not video gamers.
Yeah.
They have the brand aesthetic of somebody who's a video gamer, but 90% of their content is either drama content or like politics content or things like that. And it's like so little, like percentage wise, so little of it is video gaming. Whereas I don't know. I don't put them in the same category as like drama farmers, but at the same time, I probably should.
I would. I put Asmongold in the same category as drama farmers. Maybe Moist. Yeah, I would put Moist Critical in that same category.
That's the thing is like you can't just be like, oh well, he's not a drama farmer because I like his videos.
He's straight up. No, I don't even like his videos. I just like based on what I've seen, he is a drama farmer. But then like you have Ludwig doing the Mogul Mail stuff, and it's like to me that's almost more like it is a little bit. I think it wasn't, and then it was, and now it's not again. He was doing it from
now he is the drama.
Now, well, yeah, that's true. But then it's like he was doing it from a journalistic point of view, which is like, here's all of the information that's going on. Make your own opinion. Not here's my thoughts on this drama that's happening, and here's why I think it what it is or whatever. Which is a little different, I would argue. but I don't know.
Speaking of businesses that I would be so uncomfortable
Yeah.
building my brand around, drama.
Oh, bro.
Drama YouTuber. And I'm like, I don't remember who said it, but it was just like, can you imagine being a drama channel that like gets really successful and you're like, hey guys, thank you so much for all the love and support. Thank you for getting us to 100,000 subscribers. So-and-so said a racist comment. And it's just like,
How
can
do
you
you
really like cultivate a community like that? Can you, or is it just, I mean, there's also an element of like, how do you determine what is drama versus news? But still, I feel like you almost run into the same problems with both of them.
For sure.
Nobody's watching Philip DeFranco videos from like 3 years ago.
Yeah, you're right. I haven't even thought about Phil DeFranco in a long time, actually.
Rip.
What is he doing now?
He's still doing it.
Jeez, yeah, I haven't thought about that in a long time. I haven't thought about him in a long time. Yeah, but then you have like people like in the podcast space, you have Lex Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
You have Modern Wisdom with Chris Williamson. All of those episodes are like 2.5, 3 hours. I think Lex had an episode with Elon that was like 8 hours or something crazy like that. Which Lex is wild in his own space.
Mm-hmm.
He'll do. I want to know what that episode was. He had like a stupid long episode. I thought it was with.
There's
Elon.
Dario Amadei, which is like a 5-hour long episode.
Jeez, yeah.
I don't even know if I've talked to my own family for that long.
Dude, yeah, it's Elon Musk. It was Elon Musk, Neuralink and the Future of Humanity. It's episode 438, and it is 8 hours, 37 minutes, and 35 seconds.
Dude, how do you even I don't know if there's a computer that can record OBS for that long.
I need to know if this is all the same day. That's what I need to know. Is this all the same day?
It looks like it's three different or several
Okay,
different
it's three
guests
different.
that are all coming
It's three
on.
different interviews. Okay, that makes way more sense.
Thank goodness.
Oh,
I don't know
God.
how you record. Oh my gosh.
That makes sense. It's his Neuralink
that
team.
makes a
It's his
lot more
Neuralink
sense.
team. That makes way more. So it's basically 3 podcasts put together. I mean, that's still a long freaking podcast.
Yeah.
But that's Elon Musk and his Neuralink team.
I got
from what
scared
can
for
tell.
his safety for a second.
Yeah, golly, it's like, how did you do that all in one pass?
He's doing a subathon for his podcast.
Yeah, but he didn't pee or eat or anything, or maybe they did. I don't know. Golly, dude, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, even that one, you have people looking at that kind of stuff, and I mean that has 3.8 million views. That was 3 months ago, and I don't know. I find it interesting. I think it's probably overall a good. Oh, though it is an overcorrection, I think it is a necessary overcorrection.
Yeah.
I personally was really tired of the like hyper saturated short form content thing.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that did it really well.
Shama
Shama being one of the people that still does it really well, actually, I think.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, there was like a wake up call when like Alex Hormozy says that he's not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And then people just realized it. And even from like a content creator standpoint, I noticed like, man, I'm not getting anywhere. I used to get like ad offers from like brands for like, oh, do you want to make a short for us for $300?
Yeah, I used to get those
and like
too.
those used to be just offers that would get thrown around all the time in like the peak era TikTok days, and those are just not being thrown around anymore because they've done enough of them to where they're like, shoot, these don't convert, and we've spent more money reaching out to the. It's almost like the music manufacturer industry had the same problem as like TikTok musicians or artists where they're like, well, let's just pay influencers to dance to our song.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, that didn't convert.
Yeah, and we're gonna pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for people to do this stuff, unless you know how to convert. That
Yes.
then you can make a ton of money.
Then
to
you
be
can
honest.
farm that.
Yeah,
Because I
if
think
you-
that there are some people who have made like their business around like I think like sides. She's like made like a business. It's like her business model that
Yeah.
she does a lot of ads for, which is great for her brand because she built her entire following around being the like, here's a little tidbit on how to use Logic person.
Yep.
But I think for most people, it's yeah, the overcorrection is necessary. I'm waiting for it to come back down a little bit to where it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
a new. I don't even know, dude. A video about SpongeBob came up. Oh, well, do I have like a free weekend to watch this?
Yeah. Well, and most of my content, I don't know, what are your content like consumption habits at this point? Because I feel like maybe people might be interested in like knowing, based on what we pay attention to, how, this matters at all. Because like I don't consume short form content unless I am on
I've strayed away from it.
unless I am on Instagram and it comes up in my feed. And even then, I'm on Instagram way less than I used to be.
I avoid it at all costs. I only go on TikTok at this point to schedule stuff to post, and then interact with comments on my stuff. I never go on YouTube Shorts page, unless it like serves a video to me that it like when you go to the homepage and it like recommends a TikTok. Sometimes there will be one that I click on, but I'll click on it, watch it, and then close the tab. Like I don't.
Yeah,
Keep scrolling.
I don't surf through them. No, I watch the one that I'm like, oh, that looks interesting, and then I'll watch it, and then I'll back out.
And then on Instagram as a whole, I actually don't. I've gotten pretty extreme, so I don't have Instagram on my phone. I have an iPad that I've installed Instagram on, so I
Nice.
don't have the temptation to like doom scroll it because when you put it on an iPad, it's like not easy to like just doom scroll the real side of it.
But you also get the same upload functionality.
Yes, because the upload functionality is terrible the second you're not using the Instagram app. Like I've tried using Meta Business Manager is stupid. The amount of times where I've tried to schedule posts to auto post and it will get to that point and be like, oops, upload problem. And so having it physically there somewhere, but putting it in a form factor where it's not as like in your pocket all the time, I think that's the best way to go about it.
Agreed. Most of my content consumption habits are like, I don't use Twitter X at all anymore. I'm fully off that. I'm on Threads more now for that stuff, which I actually really like, surprisingly. And mainly I like how it talks to Instagram and I can build Reels content from my Threads content.
Yeah.
I love that. Love that. Like it makes my content creation on Instagram way easier.
I do think that and that's probably something where Instagram rewards you for doing that because they want more people to be like using Threads.
I think it rewards you on the Instagram side, not on the Threads side. I wish it did both.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Which I guess more people would value that.
Yes, exactly. To me, it's still valuable to be able to like shoot something cool, simple background stuff, put a cool filter over it, type something pithy or something I was thinking, share it to Threads, throw it over to Instagram, make a cool reel out of it, and then like get a nice 1,200 to 2,000 views instantly, like off that. So
yeah,
keeps me
I had
in
to
the
stop.
cycle.
I had to stop being on Threads, dude. I immediately was just like, I'm sharing all of like the things that I actually believed, but then it would just turn into arguments. And
I stopped. I don't do that.
It got to the point where like I had people messaging me on Instagram like multiple times a day, and I'm just like, this is not worth it. Also, I did like that analysis where I'm just like, okay, what benefit is this bringing to my business basically nothing.
Oh yeah, for me it's brain dumping. That's what I use it for. It's just like, oh, this is a cool thought, brain dump, get it out. It's like a version of like writing it in a notebook, basically. Or I'm listening to a podcast and I have listened to a thing. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting thought, and I just like, post it real quick. But yeah, that's pretty much that. And Instagram and YouTube are my consumption habits. And in YouTube, I'm watching like retro video game things and like Colin and Samir. And some podcasts. That's kind of it. I have like certain people that I watch. Let's see.
Have you done the thing that I did where I'm like, okay, I'm done watching like music, like musician content or like YouTube musician stuff?
Yeah, I pretty much don't watch any YouTube musician content other than like Andrew Huang. Pretty much the only person that I stay on top of. Yeah. And let me see who I got here. And Venus Theory. I keep Venus Theory on the rotation.
His stuff is more of like, oh, I want like a thought experiment. Like he'll actually make like that's somebody who I would like to see an actual documentary from.
So I think
his editing is impeccable.
I think he's a really good example of how the algorithm shift is going to. He is somebody that the algorithm shift is going to benefit significantly.
Yes.
Because his types of videos and slower videos like that have been like really getting it. That's just, I love it so much. So his stuff, I'll watch a Hermosi thing if the topic is interesting, or if I'm like, I need to reevaluate myself, big bro moment. I need to reevaluate myself. I'll do that. But most of my stuff, I'm watching like the Wolf Den videos on like, I made a DS out of it. I built a DS out of this thing, and I broke a bunch of them to make it, or whatever he does. He does like retro video game stuff and like emulation.
I used to watch his podcast that he did with beat 'em ups for a long time, but I don't think he's on that anymore.
Nintendo, no, he stopped because he was doing two podcasts. He had one with his brother, which I also watched that one still, the Wolf Den podcast, and it's a live stream. So it's a live stream podcast. And then they just uploaded the audio like a day later. It is actually how I think the future of podcasts might be done. If you want
live stream interactions and then upload after the fact.
Yep. So it is a podcast where, and this is like what me and Brooks do with the things we like stuff that we just do for fun. It's a podcast where they start the live stream. They have like a screen thing, and they start the podcast, and they have their talking points, and it's just like news stuff basically every week. And yeah, they go through, and it's not interviews at all. They just like talk through what's going on and hot talking points, and what's going on in the video game space and the tech space and all that kind of stuff. And then at the end, they interact with the YouTube comments from the previous week. So they always read the YouTube comments from the previous week and then answer those. And then they go to chat and talk to chat.
Yeah. That's similar to what WAN Show does, where they have merch messages. So if you buy something from their merch store while they're on stream, your message gets sent to the producer of the show, and then he'll read them out if they think that they're applicable. So that's cool. Good for them, because their whole brand is like also having like a storefront and like a merch manufacturing thing going on.
Yeah, they're big in the storefront thing.
And then I think the only other people that I see doing it that way is the Corridor guys, where they
Corridor Crew.
They stream their podcast on I believe they stream it exclusively on their website. I don't know if they do it on their YouTube channel, but they stream it exclusively on their Corridor Digital website, and you get like bonuses in the chat, and they're like interacting with the chat throughout the episode, and then that comes out as a podcast episode, and then I think they have a separate channel where it just goes up live.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm very, very intrigued for the new wave of stuff. I do feel like for podcasting, that's going to be the new, like, how can you do it any differently than like you kind of can go right now. If you're a new podcaster, you're in competition with massive names,
Yeah.
right? So like, how do you compete really? You know, it's like if you're Chris Williamson, you have a 5 million subscriber channel and you get people like Matthew McConaughey and Alex Hermozion because you're friends with them and you live in Austin, Texas. And it's like, all right, how are you going to compete with that? You're not. Also, his stuff is filmed on like massive Arri Alexa cinema cameras, and like you should look up his stuff. It's gorgeous. Actually, the most beautiful podcast I've ever seen in my entire life. It's called Modern Wisdom. It's amazing. And I also like his stuff. His interview with I think I said it, with Matthew McConaughey is really, really good. It's a really good interview. He's also just like a really good interviewer. Or you're like Lex Friedman and you're getting some of the largest names in tech in your space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Same for Joe Rogan. Or you yourself are a person of note, like Dax Shepard, or like the people from New Girl that do their podcast, or all those kind of people. Basically, all of like the B and C list celebrities that don't want to 100% just act anymore, and so they do a podcast and get all their famous friends on. It's like you can't really compete with that either. So I feel like the way to compete is have like niche topic.
Yeah, you just need to be like the expert in like one hyper specific field and have like multiple conversations about that. Because the one that I followed on for quite a while was I think they rebranded it recently, but Zach Broyles, who owns Mythos guitar pedals, he has a podcast called Pedal Pushers, and I believe it's just him and one of his employees, and they just talk about guitar pedals and guitar culture, and like
that's really sick.
They are building guitar pedals, so when they're talking about like, oh, what's the difference between like do we have too many Tube Screamer variants? Or a topic comes out like Amazon Basics is now releasing guitar pedals. They're able to bring an insight into it beyond what the average person can say. And there's like an actual conversation that is of value to people because of who they are and the insight that they have. And it's super niche, and it's never going to have like the mass appeal that like an Elon Musk interview is going to have. Another one that
doesn't
I've been
really
into
matter
is,
though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it doesn't have
because
to.
you're making this for such a specific group of people. You're making a podcast for people who are into guitar culture and a specific part of guitar culture, which is pedals.
Yep.
Another one I can think of is a really good one that I'm binging right now. It's called 10 Year Town. It's by Troy Cartwright, and it is he's a Nashville singer-songwriter, and the entire podcast is him bringing on people. It is kind of like a celebrity thing because it's people who are big in the industry, but they're not like, you don't recognize the names of people on that podcast, but they're people who are in the Nashville songwriting world, and he asks them about their journey in becoming a songwriter in Nashville.
It's very similar to literally my podcast, which is like, you're going to recognize some of them if you know, but like you're not going to recognize everybody because it's like people that are working producers in home studios.
Yes. And so this is meant to be like a podcast for like, if you are moving to Nashville, listen to this podcast, because you're basically getting the expert advice from people who have made the move to Nashville, and like, what are the struggles they ran into when becoming a songwriter? What are the things that they wish they had done differently? What are things that they did really well that helped them to excel? And so it's like almost like a survival guide, like a Ned survival guide for moving to Nashville as a songwriter. But that it's such a niche thing where somebody may not be moving to Nashville and be interested in it, but that is like the meat chunk of like, all right, they've even said we've made this show for people who are like, who is your ideal audience member, basically. And their ideal audience member is somebody who is on their way to moving to Nashville, and they would like some insight into working in the music industry there. But even then, specifically in the songwriting world, you're not talking about like the live music scene.
Yeah, or
You're
the
not talking
producer
about
world. Yeah.
yeah, it's not the producer world. It's specifically like the writing world. Like getting publishing deals is a thing that is always on a
Being
talking
talked about.
point.
Yeah.
So I think
That's
you
a
just
really
need to go,
cool
like, really,
concept for a podcast too. Like that's
it's
a
really
great
good.
idea. Yeah, that's a great. I'm
It's
gonna have to
really
check it out.
good. But that again, that's like a really niche topic, or like the Zach Broyles one. It's like
Yeah.
podcasts now need to specialize in what that I forget what video it was who did it, but it was like why I don't like video essays anymore. But he made a point that the reason that he's like tired of I'm looking for the guy's video. Yeah, I'll look for it later. But he made the point a few years ago that like this was like when Patrick Willems was like at like his peak, and like video essays on like movies and stuff like that were really popular. And he said something very very significant was if you want to make an essay, even just removing video essays, if you want to make a video essay, if you want it to be worth engaging with, you need to have an insight beyond what the average person has. If you do not have an insight beyond what the average person has, there's literally no point to engaging with your content, because you are basically just like sharing your random opinion about stuff. And you know what it then becomes like, well, what is like an insight that people think is valuable? Well, sometimes it's like a content creator that they really like, and like they know how they frame different situations. So I value their opinion on it because they they have this kind of vibe whenever they talk about stuff. But for the most part, it's like if you're somebody who's making a cinematography YouTube channel, but you don't know that much about cinematography, then why are you making a YouTube channel? Or like, why are you doing video essays on that topic?
Yeah.
And I see that sort of like specialization going into the podcast world of like people are acknowledging the best way to like get like a sort of like really dedicated like fan base is let's do a very niche topic that we care about in a hyper specific way that maybe not everyone else is doing. And that will be just our way of cultivating people who specifically care about this topic and only this topic. Because it's really not beneficial to, I mean, as somebody who like runs a podcast company, like the amount of people who are just like, let's start a podcast where we talk about pop culture, like, or movies. I'm just like, nothing makes me want to not listen to a podcast better than when somebody sells it like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You're right. And you're kind of, if you're doing that, you're leaning on personality or takes, which is fine, but you better have some good takes or a personality that people actually want to come back and pay attention to.
Folding Ideas on YouTube did a video on like cooking channels on YouTube, and he talks about that where it's like you need either
Mythical Kitchen is a great example of that.
Yeah, they like you need either spectacle or like extravagance or like personality.
Yeah,
or
and
like
they do all of those
information.
things.
And it's like if you a lot of people don't understand how like somebody like Maddie, what is his name, like Maddie B?
Yeah.
Or nope, wrong person. I was thinking of somebody else. But like like a Gordon Ramsay, like there's a personality there. And when people go into different places like, oh, we're we're going to go in this podcast, this pop culture. What's the thing that's going to set you apart? Well, we're really funny. It's like, do you understand how funny you need to be?
Yeah, dude, you're going up against people like Theo Vaughn, who are absurdly funny.
It is his full-time job to show up in a room and be funny, and he's so good at it that he makes multiple thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just in the course of a month.
Yeah.
I'm sharing my thoughts. This is how funny I am. And people don't have a respect for, like, okay, that is something you have to learn. You have to, like, practice that. Whether, like, if you don't have a stand-up background, if you don't have any, like, improv background, like... Yeah, a lot of people. It's the same thing where, like, everybody will watch, like, Whose Line Is It Anyway? And then be like, oh, we should get into improv. And then they actually try to do it. And you're like, oh, this is bad.
Even people like watching, I watch a lot of Dropout. And, like, that's mainly, like, improv stuff, like Make Some Noise and Game Changer. And that's mainly built around, like, improv stuff. And, like, those people are people who are doing improv every single day of their lives. They are professionals at that. And, like, watching them do it, it's like I can't even imagine trying to come up with ideas the way that they come up with ideas. Like, it's not as easy as just, guess we're just going to do that thing now. You got to suck at it for a really long time.
It's the definition of, like, when you have people who are really good at what they do, it looks really easy.
Oh, yeah. It looks insanely easy. Yeah. Seth, why don't you give people a little bit about what you got going on and what you're doing going into next year? Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Well,
what you can talk about.
Yeah, there's some stuff behind the scenes. It's all good. You should go check out my YouTube channel, Produce Guitar Pop. It's on YouTube, and there's going to be a lot of fun videos on that in the next coming year. I'm on Instagram at The Velvet Year, and I'll probably be sharing some thoughts and fun content on there as well. If you're interested in a producer, that's my website, velvetyear.com, and yeah, that's what I got going on.
Work with Seth. He's good people. And also, if you want more information about how Seth built his YouTube channel and social following, we did a previous episode on that. I think it was like an hour and a half or something like that of us literally just talking like social strategy for the music producer, a lot of which I actually still think holds up today, because I went back and checked a lot of that information, think with this conversation in mind of like where where stuff is going, and like most of the information we gave is like, don't leverage everything on short form, lean into long form more, have a good identity of who your person is and stuff like that. And like I actually think we did a really good job of making a evergreen piece of content from a podcast that has to do with like content creation for music
there
producers.
was a part of me that was really scared. I'm like, what if I share all of these opinions and like in a couple of years they're just like completely wrong?
No, we did. I think we did it. We talked about it in such a way and framed it about like, you can take the concepts that we talked about, and regardless of where the field goes now, I think you'll be able to use those strategies regardless, because it's really just like finding the right fit for your business and then attacking it in such a way that, you know, trying to garner audience around those people.
Yeah. Luckily, the more broad stroke stuff you do, the more it can like. I listened to it a couple times and I'm just like, oh, that sounds smart. But when you and with anybody who's like running their studio or is like thinking about stuff like this, if you have questions, reach out to me on Instagram. I love chatting about stuff like this. But the more broad stroke you can think about it, the better. Of just like broad stroke, what do I want my business to do for me?
It's a lot easier to make sure that you're heading in the right direction if you start there and kind of work down. Even when me and you talk about things, just for people that to know, it's like we both start with explaining 100,000 foot, 300,000 foot view of like, this is where we want the business to go.
Yes.
And then we narrow down of like, here's where we want the content to be. And here's what we like making versus here where we think it needs to go. And here's the kind of person that we're trying to target and all that kind of stuff. And then you kind of narrow it down from there to like, it's a lot. If you kind of walk yourself down from the 300,000 foot view all the way down to the ground, it makes it significantly easier to know what to do.
Agreed.
I feel like me and you need to do an episode where it is just one of those phone calls.
We need to just start a new podcast.
Start a new podcast. Yeah, start a new podcast where it's just me and you talking about, I don't know, random stuff. Social media specifically.
It's not like you already have like 15 of those.
Yeah, I don't need.
You have on your plate right now.
Exactly. It's not. Yeah. What's one more? Anyway, dude, thanks so much for coming and hanging out. Thanks for rescheduling with me like twice. So
absolutely, dude.
Yeah, dude. Listeners, thanks for listening. Go follow Seth at the Velvety Ear, and we'll see you next time.
You're not the first person to say that. You won't be the last.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Home Studio Hangout podcast. If you could take the time to like, subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other audio platform, go ahead and make sure you're subscribed, and also leave a rating and a review. It helps the show get out to new people, and we're trying to grow every single week. Once again, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Home Studio Hangout podcast, and we'll see you next week.